Most of the women that I have spoken with lately have said, my life is good, but there's something in me that is just making me feel restless. I just don't feel just like me. This happens to most of us at this point in our lives. When we're in our 40s, 50s, and beyond, we come up to something that I like to call the second half shift. And in this video, I'm going to tell you about the 3 signs to know if you are going through the second half shift. I'm currently speaking with women because I'm doing more research about this point in our lives where we're feeling that uneasiness. And if you wouldn't mind, check in the description below. There is a simple Google form that takes less than 2 minutes to fill out, and I would truly appreciate it if you would take the time to just let me know where you are in your life right now, if you're feeling that, and in what aspect of your life you're feeling that the most in. Okay, sign number 1. So your life looks great from the outside. You're in your career, you have your business, your family is doing okay. You've been doing the same routine for the last few years, but you're starting to realize that something on the inside is not quite right. Something feels restless. Something feels off. You're starting to feel that uneasiness, and you're not quite sure what it is. And you're trying different things. You're trying to see if you can solve it on your own, but you haven't found the way that solves this yet. And this stage is not that there's anything wrong with you or wrong with your life. It's just part of our natural evolution as women. One woman that I worked with, she was doing great for so many years in her position. She kept moving up in the company that she was with, and she enjoyed her job. She enjoyed her coworkers. But she got to a point where just a couple of years ago, she started to feel this like, is this it? Am I just going to continue working like this and then living for the weekends and then having to start again on Monday, the same thing over and over again? She knew that she was missing something. So we started working together and working through the process that I worked through myself and helping her through this process. Now she feels so much more fulfilled. She has changed jobs. This is not something you have to do to get to the end of this, to get through this, but she decided that she wanted to change jobs, and she is so much happier in her different position. And she enjoys waking up every single morning, having time to herself. She feels every day the fulfillment of every single day, and she has other aspects of her life that has improved greatly as well. She actually found a partner. She was closed off in relationships with other people, but working together through this shift, she realized that she did deserve having another partner. She did deserve falling in love again. So we worked through that, and she is still with her partner. And they are so happy together. And here's where it gets really interesting. In sign number 2, this is where you start feeling this uneasiness, and you really start asking yourself the deeper questions. And like, what is this really the purpose of my life, to continue what I've been doing for decades now? Or am I really looking for something deeper? Am I really looking for who I am? Am I looking to transform my life to be something different? What is this life about? Some of the really deeper questions, even spiritual questions, or about even starting to think about that we are mortal, that we do have a time limit. We do have a time limit here on this earth, that we're not immortal. And also some of the questions that women start asking is, are the roles that I've had in my life, do I want to continue those roles professionally, personally, in the community? Do they want to continue doing the same activities, having the same responsibilities that they've had in the past? They start asking themselves these questions. So my personal story has a lot to do with this as well. When we were living in North Carolina for a few years, I was, continuing in my career. I was working as an assistant controller for a startup company, and I did enjoy my work. I enjoyed the people that I worked with. But it got to a certain point where I was like, is this all that there is? I felt like I was just, waking up in the morning, doing the exact same routine, taking the kids to school, picking them up, going home, grabbing some wine for the weekend, just looking to have a few glasses of wine and, see some friends, and which I enjoyed, did enjoy that. But I started to really to ask those deeper questions of myself. Like, is there more that I want to do in this life? Do I want to continue the same career, until I retire? What is it that I want to do? So I started asking myself these deep, for me, they were really deep questions. And you may be asking yourself the same kinds of questions as well. So this is part of this evolution and going through this second half shift. This is completely normal. But the third sign is the one that changes everything. You're feeling right now that you want more meaning in your life. You're realizing that, yes, even though you are one individual, you start to realize that you are connected to something bigger than ourselves, bigger than our physical selves here on the earth. You start to realize that you desire at almost a cellular, deep soul level. You desire more meaning, more purpose, more connection with others. You want your life to mean something. This is the third sign, and it's really, I think, the most profound sign that there is of the fact that you're going through this second half shift. And this can be extremely meaningful to you. One of the saddest things that I have heard is people being on their deathbeds, and then they're saying, gosh, I really wish I had taken advantage of finding more purpose, of doing more for other people, of taking those chances, of doing something different. And at that point, it's too late. So you don't want this to be too late for you. This is a sign coming from inside of you at this point in your life. And I think it's your soul, it's your heart, raising this flag saying, hey, listen to me. This is the time that I want you to listen to me. So yes, it is your time. These three signs are showing you that this is the point in your life that you're going through this shift. I think everyone goes through this shift, but what not everyone knows how to do is how to work through this shift so that you get to the other side with more life opportunity, with more meaning in your life, with more freedom, with feeling more free, with working out in your relationships of really what is the deep connection that you have with your loved ones. What is the most important of those, what is the most important thing in those relationships? Which relationships do you really want to flourish even more? And another thing is, which relationships are not benefiting you or them, and which relationships perhaps is it time for you to not spend as much time and effort in, because we only have 24 hours in a day. And if you're working 8, 9 hours, 10 hours every day, by the time you're, including meal time, dinner time, showers, household chores, things like that, your moments are precious in your day. Every single minute is precious in your day. And are you using those in the most beneficial way that is keeping with where you are and where it is that you want to go through this shift? So these are important questions. These are 3 important signs for you to see that, yes, you are starting to go through this shift. And I can promise you that working through this and getting to the profound answers that you already have inside of you. It's just working. I think it's a certain process that you have to go through, and you'll see in other videos of mine what what that process is that worked for me, and what that process is that I work with other women about. And in this point in your life, it's really an opportunity. This is such an amazing opportunity for you to realize that you're going through this shift. There is so much more life to be lived. You have so many opportunities, so many possibilities in every single day to really live your dream life, to contribute to your community, to your family, to have the most meaningful, to have the most loving relationships with your loved ones and your family and your friends, and for you to make an impact in your community and perhaps the entire world. That's why when I went through this shift, I went through when I was looking at all different aspects of my life, and that's when I realized that I wanted to change professions. That's why I became a coach. That's why I'm doing this video right now. I really knew that I didn't want to continue to be in the accounting and finance field. I decided that I wanted to be a coach. I wanted to work with groups of women. I wanted to work one-on-one with women in helping them to work through these issues and these questions and find those profound and amazing and enlightening answers that they have found for themselves. And I really don't think any of those women who have worked through this in the most optimal and thoughtful and meaningful way, I really don't think any of them are going to get to their deathbed and think, gosh, I really wish I had done something majorly different, because they're already living their lives that way. They're already doing those things. Click on the link in the description about that Google form. What parts of your life are you starting to feel restless? Are you starting to feel like, hey, I am starting to have those questions? So fill out that form, let me know. And if you would be so kind, I would appreciate it if you would like this video. And if you haven't yet, subscribe so you'll know whenever I put out another video. I put out videos on Wednesdays, and I will read your responses on the Google form. I read every single response. And if I feel like that is connecting with most of the other women that I'm reading their responses, then I will get in touch with you by email, and we'll set up a time and a day to chat. Thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.